Hey, everybody. Welcome to this 54th episode of the REBT Advocates with Dr. Michael R. Adelstein of 3minutetherapy.com and me, Tommy Bateman of Nowhere. Today, we wanted to talk about a listener question from a fantastic commenter on one of our latest episodes, Paolo from Italy. Thank you, Paolo. It was a great suggestion. We're going to talk about success in life from the REBT perspective. So, to begin, Michael, what's success? What is that?
Well, success is really, in my view, how each individual defines it for themselves. But I think there's a majority opinion about what success is for them. And usually it's there are a number of aspects to it, long-term, short-term. And before we get into that, did you have more in terms of the general definition of success, Tommy?
Health, wealth, and happiness is the generally accepted one, which I'll work off of, even though I have a religious one that is quite different. So we'll stick with the health, wealth, and happiness. Majority opinion. So that works for me.
And I would add to that, Tommy, spiritual, and that doesn't mean that everyone has to have these goals: health, wealth, happiness. Wisdom is another one: be healthy, wealthy, and wise. And spiritual. But some people favor some over the others, and some people aren't interested in some as well. And I think that's okay, because one of the things REBT respects highly is individual differences. People are different in many, many ways. And in order to help them, it means understanding those differences as well as the similarities. I was going to start with long-term goals in order to be successful in life. And I'm going to focus more on things that bring us happiness. Happiness is a byproduct of doing things that you enjoy or you find meaningful. And in terms of long-term goals, intelligent people especially enjoy life more if they have some overriding passion or belief that they try to work toward in their life. And Albert Ellis used to say, if you like war, work toward war, and if you like peace, work toward peace. So those are just examples of some possible passions people have, and you can work toward them.
It's funny, you mentioned that, but if I were not an REBT therapist, I would probably be stuck in the positive psychology place too, because I studied that a lot. And one of the things they say when it comes to pursuing happiness is having a long-term goal and passion and pursuing it. But how do we do that with because there's going to be frustrations and slings and arrows and barriers and things like that. How, from an REBT perspective, do we deal with those to pursue those long-term goals?
Well, I think that's a very important question. And before I address that, I just wanted to mention a few other things in terms of goals. One large goal that many people have is helping other people, usually directly, but also indirectly. If you work and you get paid, probably your work helps people, at least indirectly. And then having an avocational or vocational interests.
It's funny, the positive psychology school calls that the meaningful life. So
yeah. Yes, I think that's a good point. That part of having a successful life for most people, maybe everyone, is having some meaning in life. And I think we did a podcast on finding meaning in life. Is that right? Do you recall that?
Don't recall right now. Maybe.
Yeah, so maybe it's something for the future.
Yeah.
And then in terms of daily existence, so those were larger goals. And then in terms of daily existence, day-to-day functioning, usually people would like to get along in a social group, have friends, and often have intimate relationships, sometimes even a family. And so those are things that lead to success in life if you feel you're working toward those or accomplishing them to some extent. Now, getting to your question, Tommy, how do you do this? Well, these are all goals, and you have preferences to achieve these goals. And the first step using REBT is the problem separation technique, which we've discussed before. And that means achieving these goals is a practical problem. How do you do it? And you could do research, or you could use trial and error, speak to others, see how they do it, network, those kinds of things.
I
But
would
then,
add, you got to avoid that low frustration tolerance, right? Those things where something gets in the way of your long-term goal and you say, well, it shouldn't be this way. Life shouldn't be this way. That impediment shouldn't be there. I shouldn't have a broken arm. I shouldn't have financial difficulties impeding my mansion. That's the low frustration tolerance is a symptomatic or symptom of that type of thinking, which radical life acceptance or unconditional life acceptance will help us mitigate. And we've gone over that.
exactly right. So that's the emotional problem part. If you have emotional problems, as Tommy is outlining, non-radical acceptance or procrastination, anxiety, depression, anger, uh, addictions, then the solution is to use emotional problem solving strategies to work on these. And Tommy and I recommend REBT as one of the most effective emotional problem solving strategies. And we've discussed that in many, many former podcasts, and we will in future podcasts. So use REBT, rational emotive behavior therapy, for the new people watching. And that involves looking for your demands, looking for your irrational beliefs, your musts, should, supposed tos, have tos, demands you put on yourself, others in the universe, and challenge, confront, and contradict them. Get rid of your demands and reinforce your preferences.
Now, I know
Now,
Paolo is wondering. Paolo is wondering, okay, I got my long-term goals. They're set. They're good to go. But
yeah.
now Paolo's thinking, well, I mean, shouldn't we have short-term goals in between, those intermediaries building up to the long-term goals? How does REBT help with those?
Yeah, well, I think this is more of a practical problem, and that is goal setting. And you raise an important point that if you, let's suppose you have a long-term goal to work toward peace, then it is important, as you're saying, Tommy, to break it down into middle term and short term goals. So, for example, a short term goal could be this week, read a book about peace, or how to work toward peace, or where peace has been achieved, and research groups in the area that work toward peace. So that could be a short-term goal. And then a middle-term goal could be develop a talk or a YouTube on peace and why you love peace and ways to achieve peace, whether it's internationally or in your personal life, and work toward that. So it is important, once you have these long-term goals, to decide on short-term and middle-term goals and start working on your short-term goals.
But Michael, I don't even have a goal. I have to have a goal in order to be happy. What am I supposed to do? I don't have a goal, and I need a goal, but I can't
Well,
find one. So what am I supposed to do here, Michael? I don't know what to do.
Tommy, I hate to break this to you, but you're what Albert Ellis would call a DC, a difficult customer. But when I have difficult customers like you, I tell them, I'll give you a goal. Here's your goal, to find the goal. And so you have a practical problem. What could be a goal or passion or something I'd like to improve on in my life? And as I mentioned earlier, in terms of practical problems, there are many ways to do that, to find the goal. And one is experimenting. Take a guess. My guess is I love peace. Now let me do some research and join some peace groups and see if I like it, see if it's something I'd like to spend a lot of time on. And if I don't like it, then try something else, like working toward war, and see if I like that. Does that answer your question, Tom?
Yeah, become an accidental warlord. But then that solves the practical problem. But then on the other side, we have the emotional problem. I absolutely must have a goal, and otherwise I'm a loser, or you name it. Like, I'm never going to be happy because I can't find the goal now. You hold that in your mind, you're never going to be able to think of the practical solutions that Michael just mentioned, such as joining a joining a warlord club or anything like that, just to try a war out, right? You're not going to be able to get there because you're too wrapped up in thinking, I must have a goal, I must have a goal, to not even get into the practical problem of trying things out.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You know?
Often people do have the must about their goal, whatever it is, whether it's finding a goal or a different goal. And then that, as you're saying, Tommy, that tends to exacerbate things and make it more difficult. So that gives you another goal, and that is getting over your musty thinking, getting over your demands about finding a goal and seeing, well, the fact that you don't have a goal right now is unpleasant, frustrating, inconvenient, disappointing, but hardly a horror, and you can work toward improving that.
Because it's just a preference. I prefer to have a goal, but I must be
Or a
happy.
passionate preference.
Yeah, yeah. What else is there? Yeah, I prefer to be happy. There's no reason why you must be happy. Now, of course, I would like you to be happy as well, but having those more rational thoughts in your mind brings it from here down to here to where you can actually think of practical solutions that Michael talked about earlier.
Okay, very good. That's about what I wanted to say on success in life. Anything else you'd like to add, Tommy?
I got nothing besides join a work club, shoot somebody. It's fun. You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
Right. Yeah, you're more of a DC than I first suspected.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for watching our episode on rational motive behavior therapy. And please give us a like. We're the REBT advocates, and watch our videos and read books by Albert Ellis and watch his videos to stay on the rational side of life.